Hello, welcome to my free resume writing tutorial. This is the template that I recommend you use to create your resume because it's the template we use to work with all our full service clients. You can access this template at CareerTuners.com/template. Let's go through this template section by section. This template is a plain text document. In other words, you won't see any fancy lines, boxes, or colors in this template because heavy formatting can trip applicant tracking systems up. First, create your resume skeleton. Put in your name, your contact information, the places that you've worked at, and your education. Next, we're going to step away from this resume template and analyze the job listings you are interested in. What are companies looking for? If we don't know, we can't write a resume that speaks to key employer needs. So grab a job description or two that interest you and copy and paste keywords and key phrases from that listing into a separate notepad file. Let's do an example together. I copied these lines from a job listing and I pulled keywords and key phrases right underneath each line. So you'll see how drive the success of our product offering became driving successful products, and so on. After you have a nice meaty list, differentiate the hard words from the soft words. Hard words are things like Java because you can take a test on Java and say, I scored 90%. You can't really take a test on nurturing budding engineers. You can't really take a test on nurturing budding engineers and get a meaningful score. Another way to tell whether something is a hard word is that recruiters search for that when they look for candidates. They might search for a software developer with Java skills, but they won't search for a software developer who builds successful products. The second just isn't as concrete as the first. So you want to take your list of keywords and split it into two mini lists. One will have all the soft keywords and the other will have all the hard keywords. You can paste all your hard keywords here in the Key Professional Skills section, or down below if you have a really long list in this Technical Skills section. Of course, you don't want to paste any hard skills that you can't confidently say that you're proficient in. One little trick that I like to use when a client doesn't have a key hard skill but needs it to succeed with their job search is I ask them to sign up for a course. So say my client needs to know Java and they don't. What I'll do is I'll ask them to sign up for a Java course, and then in the education section, I'll put Java course, anticipated date of completion, sometime in the future. Of course, you can't be dishonest here. You should try your best to build up your technical skills. Using my little trick ensures that your resume shows up for Java, but that you're not being dishonest. Step 3. Addressing red flags. Do you have an employment gap in your resume? If so, fill this section out. I've created 2 examples for you that you can follow. What did you do in your gap? If you volunteered, took any classes, achieved any certifications, did any sort of self-study, do make sure you mention that. If you've been job hopping quite a bit, paste a recommendation from your boss at the bottom of that experience to show that you left on good terms. If you don't have recommendations from your boss, ask for them using LinkedIn. Here, I commented with a link to an article that you can read if you're not sure how to ask for recommendations. Step 4. Now we create your resume's accomplishments. The soft keywords list that you set aside, we'll need to incorporate that wording into your accomplishments. You can just write Java in the skills section and the reader will believe you. The reader will think, okay, this person knows Java. But with your softer keywords, you have to prove it. So let's use building successful products as an example. Can you prove that you've built a successful product in the past? Maybe you can say something like, I created a WordPress form plugin that secured $500,000 in its first 2 months. If you're having trouble writing accomplishments for your resume, visit this link in the comment section of this Word document. You can also check out the examples I've pasted in this template. After you're sure that you've incorporated each and every one of the soft keywords from the job listing into your accomplishments, put your resume aside and think carefully about your professional history. Are there any other accomplishments that you'd like to showcase? Are there any other times when you solved problems or capitalized on opportunities? If so, put the result first, describe the challenge you resolved or the opportunity you capitalized on, and then describe the action that you took to achieve that. This action section is a great place to incorporate some of the soft keywords from your soft keyword list. Step 5. Once you've created accomplishments for your entire resume, scroll back up and write the company description for each company that you worked at. If you're interested in working for a company that manufactures widgets and you've worked at a widget manufacturing company before, then mention that. If you're interested in working for a large corporation and the last company you worked at was a startup, don't mention that. You have to align yourself with the company you're interested in as much as possible. Step 6. If you have relevant volunteer experience, you can repeat the accomplishment creation process with your volunteer experience too. Step 7. The education section. If you have more than 3 years of relevant professional experience, then just do the first line, the degree, the university, and the year. If you have less than 3 years, you may want to fill this section out too. Mention your theses, courses, awards, and extracurricular activities, but only if they relate with your career goal. Step 8. When you're done with all that, reorder your resume. So for example, if your volunteer experience or your education is more important than your professional experience, it should go at the top. Then go into each experience. If this bullet is more relevant than this bullet, for example, you would put it at the top. Now, to better explain why I created this template the way I did, I am going to break down my 3 rules of resume writing and show you a few resume cheat sheets. You can access all of these resume cheat sheets on my website at CareerTuners.com/cheat sheet. Rule number 1. Important things go at the top. In this template, there are 2 implications for this rule. If you catch people's attention with the first few lines of your resume, they'll read the rest a lot more carefully. So here, you'll put your job title or the main skill you want to be known for. You'll see that we have a fairly beefy summary section. In this section, our purpose is to catch the reader's eye with your 3 biggest, most relevant strengths, and then follow each one up with proof. By proof, I mean that you show that you have that particular strength either by listing an accomplishment that you have or a certification or a course that you've completed. If you are a very traditional candidate and your latest professional experience is the most relevant asset you have, you might decide to skip these 3 bullets altogether. And you can instead just showcase those accomplishments in your latest experience. The second implication to this rule is you'll see that in the case of this new graduate's resume, I put his education above his experience. And in his experience, it's not chronological. You'll see that his internship goes above his paid experience, and his school project also goes above his paid experience. The reason I did this is because this internship is a lot more relevant to his goal of quality engineering than his customer service experience. Let's move on to rule number 2. Important things go towards the left. The reason this rule exists is because hiring managers are skimming along the company name or job title that you have. They're skimming along the left margin. The reason for that is the best way to prove that you are a good mechanical engineer is to show that you've been a mechanical engineer in the past. So recruiters are skimming along this direction, and it's really important for us to put our biggest assets along the left margin of your resume. There are 2 implications for this rule. If you are interested in a job title that you haven't held most recently, you have to distract the reader with your key strengths. This is an optional step, but you'll see that in this example, we distracted the reader from the fact that this person doesn't have that much professional experience by highlighting their key technical strengths and their key soft skills. While this step is optional, I recommend it if you are interested in a role that's different from what you've been doing in the past. The second implication to this rule is that if you have quantified accomplishments, those should go towards the beginning of each bullet. You want to say, I saved $200 per order by doing all the stuff, instead of I did all the stuff to eliminate $200 per order. By describing your key win in the beginning of the sentence, you draw the reader in, and that encourages them to read your resume more carefully and remember your profile more. Rule number 3. People love drama. conflict engages them. That's why, in your resume, try to show the overall impact that you had. Instead of saying, I identified and eliminated redundancies in filing and approval processes, say, I reduced order delivery time from this much to this much by doing the same. The reason this bullet is so powerful is because it's showing exactly what was going on before this guy joined the company and the difference that he made. You can also use percentages to achieve the same goal. By the way, you can download each of these cheat sheets by visiting CareerTuners.com/cheat sheet. When you're done building up your resume using my guidelines, if you feel your resume looks too lengthy, or if your language doesn't sound as polished as it could be, consider investing in my resume editing services at CareerTuners.com/editing. Then you can focus on getting your stories down on paper and not on perfection. Once I have all your stories in front of me, I can simply weave them into place and edit your resume to perfection. I will rewrite weaker sections and annotate your resume with any additional suggestions I may have. If you're having a really hard time even beginning to write your resume, consider investing in my resume writing services at CareerTuners.com/services. You can pay in 4 monthly installments, but you'll have your resume within just a week. Immediately after you purchase, you'll be redirected to this form where we'll ask you a couple of questions about the roles that you're interested in. Then, you'll be redirected to this call scheduling page. You'll speak to us for about 90 or so minutes and we'll close all the gaps in information we have about your history. We'll put together accomplishments for your resume by analyzing the roles you are interested in and covering any red flags your resume may be giving off. If you are a non-traditional candidate, for example, if you are aiming for a higher management role than those that you've held in the past, or if you're a career changer, or if you just aren't able to stay ahead of tough competition, consider investing in our services. If you have any questions about this template or about my services, please reach out to me at fatima@careertuners.com. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Have a great day and good luck with your job search.